Alright, in this video, we're going to show how do we graph the function through the graphing calculator. So the first one, we're going to talk about the exercise 4i number 1. Noticing this is your function y equal to 2x squared plus 1. So you simply go to your calculator, hit the button y equal to, enter your function. So we got 2x squared, so x squared plus 1. So now you go to graph. Take a look at that. This is your graph. So you can just copy this graph on your paper. Alright, now let's take a look at exercise 4J. So in this time, they want you to graph the function and also show the vertex and the equation of the axis of the symmetry. So we know the vertex means it's the lowest point, which means the minimum, or the highest point, which will be the maximum. And we mentioned about once you know the vertex, you can write down the equation of the axis of the symmetry because we know the equation will be x value. So here we go. For 4J, we're going to look at number 1 again. So we got a new function, y equal to parenthesis x plus 3 close parenthesis square minus 2. So I go to function equal to y. I'm going to clear this function. So we got parenthesis x plus 3 close parenthesis square that and plus 1. So now if I go to graph, we see my graph shift to the left side 2 units. And you know there it's your vertex. Looks like we have a lowest point, which is my minimum. So in order to do that, you're going to use your second calc. And you're going to use the minimum, enter. So now it's asking you where is your left bound. Simply you see there is your flashing line. So all you need to do just to move this flashing line to the left side. So we're going to move this to the left side. So now I think it's left enough. I'm going to hit enter. So it's asking you where is your right bound. So we're going to move this point to the right bound. So I'm going to move that to the left side a little bit and hit enter. So now it's asking you guess. Yes, you can say guess. Therefore, the calculator is going to get the answer for you looking at this point. So your vertex it's -3, 1. Therefore, we can answer the question right here. My vertex it's -3. So -3. And as we see, it's 1. So there it's my vertex. And as we mentioned about, if we know the vertex, the x value is the equation of the axis of the symmetry. So now we know my symmetry is at x equal to -3. There we go. Alright, 4K. So 4K asking the same similar thing, but this time they ask you, besides graph the function, we're going to look for the equation of the axis of the symmetry, and we also look at the picture where you see the curve intersect the x-axis, and also we want to find out the vertex. The best way to solve any kind of those questions is you look at the graph first and then find your vertex. So here we go. We're going to look for the function again, so we're going to do number 2 here. So go to function y equal to, I'm going to clear this one. This time we get a function, it's x times parenthesis x plus 6. Close your parenthesis and let's graph. So now you see this is your graph. Again, we look at the graph, we notice there it's my lowest point, which is my vertex, it's my minimum. So I'm going to go to second calc, which is the trace button. We're going to go to the minimum, hit enter. Alright, so the left bound, so we're going to move the flashing line to the left side a little bit. So right here, and enter. You're going to shift that to right side a little bit. right here, hit enter. So now we're going to ask that calculator to guess that for us. So now we get an answer. Now looking at this answer, you kind of can have a better idea about that. It's about at the -3 and the y should be -9. Therefore, we can say my vertex for this answer, it is -3 and -9. And this is my vertex. Alright, now if you say it doesn't look like -3 and -9, what can we do? Well, you can do it one more time. So for example, we're going to second calc one more time, and I'm going to make this graph right here. I'm going to second calc one more time, since we know this is my minimum. So I'm going to move my left bound a little bit to the left. Enter. And my right bound, it's a little bit more to the right side. Okay. And now you're going to guess one more time. So therefore, you get a better sure answer about the lowest point you get. It must be -3 and -9. So therefore, you get your vertex. And yes, once you get the vertex, you can answer the question for the equation of the axis of the symmetry. We say that is my x value. So we can say the equation is x equal to -3. So that is my equation of the symmetry. Alright, so now we're going to answer the next one. Where do you see the curve intersects the x-axis? Well, it's easy to see on your graph. You have 2 points cut through. Now, the best way to do that is you can count the measurement. So that is 0, 0, so you know 1 point, it must be 0, 0. And the other one, this point, you can say if that is 0, this is -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the other point will be -6, 0. How do you verify your answer? You can go to second calc and use value. So when x equal to -6, enter. You know the y is 0. This is your intercept, so you know for 1 point that it's my x-intercept. So we got one answer, which is -6 and comma 0. That is my 1 point. Now, for the other point we mentioned about, it's right here, 0, 0. So again, you can use second calc value. When you type in x for 0, enter, you got y, it's also equal to 0. Therefore, that is your second point. It is when we say that's 0, your answer must be 0. Therefore, you know there is another point here shows you 0, 0. That is your intersection point. Okay? When you're doing the same thing, when there is a function, you simply just put the function into your graphing calculator. So the same thing when you do number 10, simply you just need to type in your function. So therefore, clear your function. You got parenthesis x minus 5 times parenthesis x plus 3. Close your parenthesis and graph. You will see your graph. Now this graph shows you it is big, and you still can see down here it's your minimum, it's your vertex, the lowest point. So you can go to window. Now since we want to show more for the y, negative value, so you can choose your y. Instead of -10, we can choose -30. So now let's take a look at the picture. Now you can see your picture. Still there it's your lowest point, which is your vertex. So you can go to second calc and go to your minimum. And yes, so a little bit to the left bound, yes, it's good for us. And hit enter. And you go to your right bound here and hit enter. and guess. So now do the calculation for you. You know there will be your vertex. So it looks like it should be 1 and -16. So therefore for this number 10 question, your vertex, your lowest point here should be 1, -16. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at 4L. The same thing. They want you to find out the equation of the x-axis, the equation of the axis of the symmetry, and they want you to find out the intersection of the x-axis and also the vertex. Again, start with the vertex. So let's do number 2 here. So you get a new function, y is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 5. Alright, since we need to clear this function better, so x squared plus 4x minus 5. So now graph. You see this, it's your picture, and again, it's a U shape. Open up, and this there, it's your lowest point, which is your vertex right here. So second calc, and go to your minimum. And remember the left bound, so go to your left bound a little bit. Right here is good. Enter, and go to your right bound right here. Good. Enter, and now ask it to guess. So let's guess the equation here. So it gives us the answer. My vertex here, it is -2, -9. Therefore, you can say my vertex, it is -2, -9. So this is my vertex. Again, once you know your vertex, you can write down the equation of the axis of your symmetry. So the x, it's equal to -2. That is your equation of the symmetry. So -2. Alright, so now you notice there is the 2 intercept, the x-intercept looking at this picture. So we can go to second calc. Now there are 2 ways you can do. One is use the value, as you can look at the picture. One value you can see it's right here, maybe it's 1, so let's try 1. So when x equal to 1, y is equal to 0, so you know there it's 1 point. Now there is another one you can do, it is use second calc, use 0, number 2. So the 0 just tells you to go to the point. So we're going to try to find the point on the left side. So we're going to let the calculator figure this out for us. So the left bound I choose right here. Enter. And I'm going to let the right bound, it's right here. So enter. So now I'm going to ask it to guess right here. So enter. So now it gives me the answer. My other point for the intercept will be -5. Now this one tells you it's almost about -1 to a -12. This tells you the decimal going to the left side 12 times move your decimal. So that will be very small number, almost close to 0. So what you can do is you go to verify second calc. You can use the value, enter. So you try to put in -5. And what answer you got? You got -5, and you do got the answer 0. So therefore, we can answer the question right here. So the 2 point at our x-intercept will be 1 is -5, and we know it is dy is equal to 0. And the other point you see, it's when it's 1, you got 0 too. Okay, and that's all for today for this video. You can use your calculator and get the answer quickly. Again, look at your picture first. Look for the vertex first to indicate if there it's your highest point, the maximum, or the lowest point, the minimum. Once you get your vertex, you can answer the question for the equation of the axis of the symmetry. The equation will be x equal to the first value of your vertex, okay? And that's all for today. Thanks. Have a nice day.